You had thousands of people behind you last week. What was that like?
Well, it was like deja vu, really, from the days of COVID. One of the things I've been trying to get across all these years, and it's almost a lost cause with the people like Alex Jones and such like in America, is that it's a one-party state. The countries are one-party states because what you do is you look at the outcome. You don't look at the rhetoric. You don't look at whether someone from the left or the right is saying it. You look at the outcome. And when you look back through the decades, you're seeing this incessant centralization of power, this incessant move to a technologically controlled society, and this move to more and more destruction of freedom of speech and such like. So whoever's in power, you're going in the same direction. And there's no greater example of that than what Trump's doing in America, right, and what Starmer, Tony Blair, is doing in Britain, and they're supposed to be of the left. But the outcome's the same. And not only do we live in a one-party state in terms of individual countries, we live in a one-party world in the sense that there is a network of secret societies, what I call the global cult, which is orchestrating this incessant centralization of power and this incessant movement to a digital AI-controlled society. And then you look at digital ID and you see how that's coming in now in country after country. They already are in places like Texas in the United States. We need to realize that this is not about Keir Starmer, a gopher of this cult. He's not made the decision. He's been told to make the decision. And these frontmen, even Trump, in fact, Trump's a fantastic example, they are vehicles, they are legislative vehicles, in Trump's case, not even that, because he's doing it all on executive orders. But they are vehicles in the official establishment arena to put what's being decided in the shadows into the public arena as changes in the law and the impositions that come along. We saw with COVID, the common threat brought people together. And here we have COVID Mark II in the digital ID. You're all in the gun sights of what we're facing, which is a level of control via the digital ID and digital currency and the AI takeover of society, which takes human decision-making out of the game in terms of the population. We are crossing a line that's going to be very, very difficult from then on to cross back. And if we don't come together and meet this together, we'll all be under a level of control that's almost impossible for most people to grasp and to realize that the world they've lived in this far and the world we're going into fast, and digital ID is fundamental to it, is so different, it's so extreme, it so fundamentally deletes the most basic freedoms that it's very difficult for people to grasp. But we've got to grasp it. We've got to grasp it bloody fast. The whole foundation of human control is the manipulation of perception. Why do we behave as we do? Because we perceive as we do. This is what censorship is all about. Censorship is to stop you having access to information that would give you a different perception. That's what it's all about. That's why they
a different action.
That's why they shut it all down during COVID, because they knew that if the truth came out of what COVID was all about, there'd be a completely different perception. I was stopped in the street by someone the other day. It happens quite often, saying, thank you on behalf of my family for what you said during COVID, because it stopped us having the jab. And now we can see the consequences for so many people. So that decision by that family not to have the jab came because they had access, because they'd bothered to, pursue it, access to information that gave them a different perception, different behavior, different outcome. So it's all about controlling perception. And, you know, in terms of that, if people would only start looking further at what digital ID means and what this AI society means, they would have a completely different view of what the hell's happening all around them. In terms of practicalities, on one level, you've got the choice not to acquiesce to this, even if it comes in. And that will mean your life will change. But like Chrissy was saying, we have to prepare for that. But also on a practical here and now political level, you've got the opposition parties in Britain or in the UK that are for political reasons, not always for political reasons, sometimes because they genuinely believe it. But, you know, the more opposition that we can generate, the more public response we can generate, the more those parties will start to go, well, we've got to go with this. We've got to be against this because it's really bad politically if we don't. And that basically leaves the Labour Party, because all those other parties can vote against it and it can still go through because the majority that Labour have. And that's an area that we really need to focus upon as well, because we need Labour MPs to grow a frickin' pair, to grow a backbone, and to realise that freedom and the basic freedoms of their constituents are far more important than bowing and bending the knee to a cult gopher like Starmer, whose handler is obviously Tony Blair, who, you know, the cult is speaking when his lips are moving. So this is an area I think we need to focus upon. The electoral consequences for Labour MPs who support this digital ID and all that it means for freedom. What you've got with the Labour MPs who support this, who will vote for it, is either a monumental idiot who has done no research whatsoever into the consequences of this, or someone, and they will be the few, who knows exactly what's going on and support it. And it's this area of the Labour majority that we've got to focus upon and get as many of those to go against it. Because if Starmer thinks that he's going to lose the vote, he'll pull it. Tony Blair was the guy who opened the gates to mass immigration into Britain, which has gone on to become mass illegal immigration. And I don't know whether you remember, but one of his advisors at the time, when Blair was Prime Minister, came out later and said that the decision was made by Blair and his little group around him, in other words, the cult operatives, that they were going to set out specifically to allow so many people of other cultures into Britain that it would change the nature of British society irreversibly. Yeah. That was the word that was used, irreversibly. Okay, so now, oh my goodness, we've got a problem, haven't we? We've got, and now people are on the streets, Tommy Robinson's kicking off, oh my God. So how can we solve the problem? Well, who comes along and says, digital ID? Tony Blair, the handler of Keir Starmer. And so you can see how wheels within wheels have played the problem, and then now they're offering the solution.
Yes.
You've been elected in theory, to represent them, not to follow and kowtow to what some dictator in the party like Starmer, dictated to by Blair, dictated to by the cult, tells you what you must do. People say, "Oh, he's a bit of a rebel. He is. He's a political rebel in the party." Where are the rebels in the parties? They're marginalised. They're on the back benches. They never get anywhere near government or any position to run the party. Rebels in politics are not people that are all rocking the boat. The bloody boat needs rocking, and we have nothing like enough rebels in politics. We have yes people and cap touchers, yes sir, no sir, and they're the kind of people that will vote for digital ID.